Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here with YoVideogames, and I'm back with another video talking about Square Enix because it seems like you guys really like hearing about Square Enix and talking about Square Enix. And yeah, I'm happy to provide and yap more about it. But rather than just do what I did last time, which was like, oh my god, are they cooked? Let's do a video I did a little while back for WB Games, which yeah, they didn't really do. They did one thing I said in that video, which is good. But, that was the MK Legacy Collection, but came with its own set of problems there. But here and there, like getting MK Collection, Legacy Collection is definitely a step in the right direction for what people want. They just wanted to actually, not have the input delay. But anyways, we're getting off track here. Let's talk about Square Enix. This is a video about can they do, or rather 10 steps, my 10-step plan to pulling Square Enix out of the dirt, picking them back up. My 10-step plan to making Square Enix a top-tier publisher again. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into them with number 10. And let's just go right into it. And number 10 here is Remaster Dissidia Duodecim, or Dissidia 012, 012, whatever the game is called. This is one that's just kind of highly regarded and highly requested. A PSP exclusive from way back in the day. This is a game that just has a really big fan base, and it would just go well, I think, as a simple remaster. Kind of do a Crisis Core remastering on this. It's definitely something I think the fandom really wants, and it's something that I think would just go over really well. It's a simple, okay, what do we got that we cannot spend a ton of money on, but it's something that people really like, really want to play again, like hasn't been around for a while, but could definitely pull in some quick bucks. And yeah, Dissidia Duodecim, absolutely one of those games. Just straight up. To me, this is a big old no-brainer move from them. It's like the simple start off, like just give people what they want, okay? Yeah, just do the Batista thing. Give them what they want. So that being said, the next one on my list of things to do is number 9, is overhaul the worldwide merchandise. So Square Enix as a brand carries, and Final Fantasy in particular, carries a ton of weight behind it still. How do I know this? Because I could literally make a video about Square Enix or about Final Fantasy VII with Max, and it's going to do better than most any video I could possibly make. I mean, it's people still just want to talk about Final Fantasy. So one thing that I think Square has had a problem with, especially outside of Japan, is really leveraging that. Like they don't do enough with it as they could. A big example of this was this June's release of Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering cards, and it was like huge. It was a huge win for both companies, for Magic the Gathering, for Final Fantasy. It did gangbusters. It was just exactly what the people wanted, and it was, to me, it's just more and more proof that I don't think Square realizes or pushes hard enough for Final Fantasy branding in particular outside of Japan. You go to Japan and it's kind of like treated as like this big prestigious thing. You can see it all over the place. It's in stores everywhere. It's very easy to find cool Final Fantasy merchandise anywhere you go in, say, Tokyo. If you walk around anywhere in America, you're kind of gonna have to dig deep to find Final Fantasy anything. Like maybe you'll find an earring at a Hot Topic or something. So yeah, I think there's definitely a bit of you guys are missing the ball here, and I think this goes hand in hand with them laying off a bunch of people in PR and marketing in North America and Europe. Was like this: you're dumb because you literally have things that people want to sell. Why don't you give these parts of the company, why don't you do more with your merchandise and give them more to sell so that they can make more money for your company? This is something I have hands-on, first-hand knowledge of, and it's like, okay, they definitely aren't doing brand awareness or brand marketing anywhere near as much as they could, because again, my views, Max's views, Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering cards, events like Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concerts, they always do well, but then it's always kind of like, okay, so you going to see a big follow-up with with branding, merchandise, clothing stuff? Nope. It's still kind of relegated to really like niche, like hardcore stuff. You got to go to like the depths of little Tokyo to like find, stuff that you want for Final Fantasy in LA. So that's just bad form on their part, honestly. Like, and again, getting rid of people because, like, and not selling more stuff is just the wrong way to go about this. This isn't so much you got to spend money to make money. It's like you gotta offer product to sell product. And this is a weird thing that Square is just completely dropped the ball on worldwide. So a big one for me is they really should be leveraging their branding, especially Final Fantasy, with merchandise outside of Japan, where the real money is made. So moving along now, that's number 9 for me. Number 8, this one's gonna, this one's gonna have I have some words for this one. And number 8 is they need to stop wasting time on mobile. Mobile has turned into this weird like fool's gold for them. They've had some pretty rough times. Like they had a huge Kingdom Hearts project that got canceled, and we'll get to that. And now they have this new weird like Disney bounding version of Final Fantasy in modern day Japan. And those who have actually played the game that's come out is like, oh, this is a gotcha pay to win hell. And again, this is just like you could just go down a list. You could just Google search like Final Fantasy or Square Enix, canceling or ending mobile title support. They throw so much fucking money into mobile game projects that almost all of them get shut down within a year or if they're lucky, a couple years, and they don't last. And because like they eventually just burn out because they cost a whole ton of money. They dump ungodly amounts of their wealth into, we got to have the next mobile hit. And this all is because the big mobile boom, from 10 years ago on mobile in Japan, they were there at the forefront and they had a big boom. But now it's kind of gone bust because, frankly, people, even in Japan, are tired of their JPEG farms. And they have much bigger, better, more fancier mobile titles from competing developers and in other parts of the world that are really putting serious money into it. See, Square's problem is that they don't just dump a bunch of money into one mobile project. They dump a bunch of money into a bunch of mobile products, and none of them are of the same level of what I'm getting at here is Hoyoverse, and we'll be coming right back to them. So, yeah, what's the point here? You get a game that you can barely even play or do anything in unless you're constantly pumping money into the machine. It's terrible. And they need to stop. They just need to fucking stop. The amount of waste this company has done in the last 6 to 7 years on mobile is incredible. And all it's done, like some of it is literally a money pit. Like some came out, a bunch of these came out and then they got canceled. Like they had a big Nier one. They've had multiple Final Fantasy ones. They've shut down multiple Final Fantasy ones. Their newest Dissidia one, the good luck for this thing surviving another year. And then, of course, the big one, which we'll get to talk about a little bit later, too, with Kingdom Hearts is like, some of these are just like, okay, we put a bunch of money. They came out and they didn't really earn much back, so we lost them. And some of them, they've dumped a ton of money into and it doesn't even come out and they made nothing. They literally just burned. They burned a mountain of cash. They burned millions of dollars for nothing. And if you want to stop the bleeding, maybe getting rid of your worldwide staff isn't really quite the answer here. Maybe the answer is to stop making fucking cheap mobile shit that is never going to recapture that boom you had a decade ago. Let it fucking go, okay? Like this isn't happening anymore. Mobile space is for hyper premium products only. And speaking of hyper premium products only, let's talk about what they really do need to be talking about in mobile space. And this is not just mobile, but this is mobile and console. And this is what CB3 should be focusing on. You have your big MMO company, your big MMO branch in your company that does 14, and they did 16, and they kind of did, they did Tic Tacs as well. And what should they be doing next? Honestly, if you want to spend a bunch of money, this is the riskiest thing. This is my biggest money spending thing. They need to have Creative Business 3 make a Genshin-like. They need to have something on the level of one of the big Hoyoverse titles that has online and that can be constantly like sort of updated and fed new stuff into, but they need to learn. They need to learn specifically why. Why did creative business, why does, or I'm sorry, now they need to learn why did Genshin take off as well as it did. And that is because you can play and you can enjoy Genshin and you don't have to spend a ton of money. So you don't feel like you're being nickel and dimed the entire time you're experiencing the game. That's what they need to learn from it really heavily is like, okay, your next big online game should be something like a Genshin like that you could play solo and spend money on for cosmetics and character roles, or it's something you can play with your friends. You can jump in and get a squad going, and just sort of have this persistent ongoing world that's not 14, not an MMO, but also not not a simple cheesy mobile title that's just going to be, again, another JPEG farm or another like pay me money to keep going kind of thing. So what Square should do if they want to, if anything they need to do that's requires spending a ton of money on my list here is have CB3, Creative Business 3, make a Genshin like just because fucking Hoyoverse came in and stole your fucking lunch money from online doesn't mean you can't learn anything from it. And the thing you should definitely learn from it is that offering a high quality premium experience that has online, gotcha mechanics doesn't have to mean that, you literally can't play the game unless you're constantly spending money. Just get people suckered into your ecosystem. Get them their taste in. Get them addicted to playing your game, and then offer them bonuses, incentives to roll that gotcha. And that's how you do it. We no longer can. You're going to sit here and be like, well, you have a 1 in 500 chance of getting Tifa in a bikini on a JPEG. Isn't that great? Shut up. Make a fucking premium product if you're going to be wasting more and more and more time within, this sort of mobile and online sector. Because, people have learned now they can and will get premium quality product without having to, on their mobile thing, without having to just spend their way constantly in it. They don't have to be nickel and dime. They can get a premium mobile product. They can get a premium gotcha product that doesn't require constant fucking, rolling of the dice of money. So yeah, have CB3 make a Genshin like. I think that's a pretty big one for them to, again, that's my biggest, you got to spend money to make money. That's my biggest money spending adventure here. So let's just keep it rolling with all the things that's going to piss people off here. And the next thing they need to do is they need to shit or get off the pot with Kingdom Hearts. Now, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan. We know this. That's nothing new. But what they're doing, how they're handling one of their most popular series, this shit cannot go on. So since the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, they've had a massive mobile game project that got canceled because they're like, we can't see a path to profitability here. And then they have Kingdom Hearts 4, which is basically just sat around in development hell or something, or just not being worked on for whatever reason for years. And if you're a fan of this franchise, this is getting ridiculous. You're having to wait a decade between major releases, and now you don't even have the option of okay, well, here's a little Game Boy Advance, here's a PSP or a 3DS or whatever, an in-between game. You don't even really get that anymore. Missing Link was kind of supposed to be that, and then it got fucking canceled, and it was a mobile bullshit title anyways, and it didn't even look that great. So yeah, they need to fucking figure out what they're doing with this franchise. This kind of development timeline, this cannot continue. This has to see some sort of change or altercation or something. They need to figure out something like what they did with Final Fantasy VII from remake to rebirth, where take the fucking engine and the knowledge and the staff that you have, and then transfer it to the next game, and then try not to. So you don't have these games taking decades to make. So this is a big one, and again, I'm not here to shit on Kingdom Hearts. I'm not saying get rid of Kingdom Hearts. I'm not saying cancel Kingdom Hearts, but I am saying for sure that they basically need to shit or get off the pot. They cannot be spending this amount of time between game releases for Kingdom Hearts. This shit needs to go faster, straight up. And it's not even oh, you need to give me what I want faster. It's no, okay. if your product is taking more than 5 years between game releases, there's a problem there. I think 5 years is understandable, it's fair, but at the same time, like, this is a game that's meant for all ages. It's meant to, like, you know, kids to be into it. You know, if you were a kid, if you were like 5 when Kingdom Hearts 1 came out, you've graduated college by now, and Kingdom Hearts 4 still isn't out. So this is a fucking problem with the nature of game development as it is now, but also this shit can't continue. You gotta figure something out here to get these projects moving, because this is way too long. This is just taking way too long with nothing in between. Like, the only thing you have to speak of now at this point is a canceled mobile project. So yeah, like, Kingdom Hearts 4 needs, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to come out when it comes out, but like, from 4 to 5, they need to figure out a better plan for doing this, because if they're going to continue making these games, and I assume that they will, they very much desperately need to not have this shit happen again. So yeah, like, I won't apologize, Kingdom Hearts fans, but because frankly, you know, I'm right. And the next one is, they need to rein in the budget and scope of Final Fantasy. This is sort of like we're getting into sort of like one of the big problems here, and that's, they're spending a little too much, going a little too crazy, I think, on the budget. Like, yes, Final Fantasy is known as a big budget, like the big AAA version of an RPG. We know this. This is known. But you don't really need to spend this kind of money. Again, going back to what they've accomplished from getting Remake off the ground to Rebirth to what is a seemingly Part 3, they need to basically, like, rein themselves in and be like, okay, you don't need to rewrite the wheel, or rewrite, you know, mathematics every time you want to do a new Final Fantasy. I think a big problem with it is that they always try to do some big crazy new thing with each Final Fantasy, and that's kind of cool, but it's also, I think, starting to become a bit of a detriment when games are taking as long as they are. And especially when every Final Fantasy being a different story, they're not all going to hit. You know, some of them are going to, and they're not going to hit with everyone. Like, they'll never hit with anyone. But at the same time, you shouldn't be spending this kind of money that they do for these big Final Fantasy projects. I think what they really need to do, again, look at what's gone on with, you know, with Remake to Rebirth, and then look at what some other games have done. Because frankly, when you look at some of the other projects, like, what are some of the biggest selling JRPGs recently? And you look at, like, what Persona 5 has done, and Metaphor, and what Nier Automata did, and none of those games had anywhere close to the budget of Final Fantasy, but they're selling at Final Fantasy levels, like they're even eclipsing Final Fantasy in some cases. I think what they really need to do is, whoever's making the next mainline Final Fantasy, they need to have their game design plan fucking figured out before a single line of code is written. Like, they need to do it. My guesstimate here, my personal observation is, the pre-production phase of Final Fantasy needs to be fucking reined in. Know exactly what you want to do from a gameplay system perspective. Know how you're going to do it. Know exactly how big the game is. Know exactly how many areas it is. Do not fucking change. Do not alter the course. Do not do no scope creep, no feature creep. Lock the fuck in on your Final Fantasy games. Like, decide what you're going to do right away. Do not fucking change course. Do not fucking get tempted by, like, gaming trends, or, oh, this is going on. Like, oh, should we put a BR mode in? No. Shut up. Just make the fucking game. Whoever's doing 17, lock the fuck in before you make anything. Know exactly what the combat's going to be like. Know exactly how big the game is going to be. Know exactly how long it's going to take, how many areas are going to be in the game. Know what you're getting yourself into. Rein this shit the fuck in. Because just like wandering in the fucking desert for years while your image works just sits there and works on pretty CG scenes is, again, it's a money pit. Just stop throwing your fucking, like, money in the fire here. Figure out what you're going to do, and then just lock the fuck in. And if some other gaming system or thing happens in the industry, and like, oh, this is popular now, should we chase it? No, shut up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. You have the brand name Final Fantasy. Just lock the fuck in, make it how you want them, like decide what you're going to do, make the game you want to make right from the beginning, and do not deviate from that. So yeah, that's a bit of an industry rant there. It's kind of just something I've observed too long with Final Fantasy in general. But the next one, this is a little bit probably more of your guys' speed here. You know what Square should do in a sort of less expensive, sort of something that's a little more immediate, like a little less farther out, a little more immediate term, a little more evergreen. And that is, I think Square should work with Arc System Works, and they should make a Dissidia fighting game. Yes. I don't really have much to say on this other than just like, look, have a big multi-platform Final Fantasy fighting game that you can at least support for a good 3 to 5 plus, maybe even longer years. I mean, when you look at games like Dragon Ball FighterZ and you look at like Tekken 7 and some other games, like their support went on like well beyond 5 years, and they still get updates and they still get stuff. And frankly, I'm just like, yeah, you should do this. Like, this should be Square should make a deal with Arc System, make a big fancy, like pretty, Dissidia fighting game. It doesn't, 1-on-1, 3v3, however you want to do it, whatever. I know the hype machine is like, yeah, 3v3 tag fighter, yeah, but whatever. Just have a very pretty Arc System developed fighting game that you can at least support for 3 to 5 years, and make it multi-platform. Put it on fucking everything, including mobile, if you can, but at least all the consoles and PC for sure. And then just kind of like ride that hype train, have that hype train going, have that, every 6 months you get to like announce a new character, or announce a new big update, and make it a big trailer, make it a big event. It's content, So to me, this is what they should be doing, as far as like, okay, this is like medium budget. It's not super cheap. It's not super expensive, but it's something that will kind of constantly bring you revenue, for a good few years to come. And that is get Arc Systems Works working on a Final Fantasy fighting game. It doesn't even have to be Final Fantasy. It could be like all of Square Enix. It could be Square Enix in general. Hell, that would probably even do better for you, honestly, if you could find a way to drag all the other IPs of Square Enix into it. That just money. So yeah, just have Arc System jump in and do a Final Fantasy fighting game. Seems like a winning scenario to me. So I know it's something like others have said, Max has said it, people have wanted it. Just do it. Arc System fighting game for Square Enix. Come on. Like, what are we waiting for here? The next one is a little more, I don't want to say ethereal, but a little more concept-y. And one thing I think Square Enix needs to really do is be more direct. One thing I think Square could really learn from, at least from Nintendo, and they kind of sort of tried this once and then just kind of gave up immediately. They need more Square Enix direct spotlights. People still have a high regard for the company of Square Enix, but what they need to learn from the late great Iwata is to have a constant, reliable update of information, and not just sit there and be like, well, a state of play. I wonder, will we see a Square game? Is this it? Is this the time? I think if they were a lot more consistent with when they update people, like having a sort of like, look, every April we have a Square Enix spotlight, or every September we have a Square Enix spotlight. This is going to be a consistent yearly thing, something people can rely on, something people can look forward to, something that you train people to tune into, to wait, to get your new information. I think that's what they should be striving for. I think that's what, should be the goal with them. Because like right now it's still very scattershot. Now, obviously this comes a little bit hand in hand with the fact that they're in a restructuring phase. They're in the middle of it, and they're still a year and a half away. But that being all said, Square's no stranger to announcing things way too early. So again, having sort of every 6, 9, or 12-month updates, having these updates come in for Square Enix games, I think is something they should be striving for. Have a consistent, it's going to happen, don't falter. Have a Square Enix spotlight, have an online event, a direct, literally a direct. Have it happen consistently. Make this the thing you should be striving for, because it makes people like aware, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And like, because obviously people don't watch directs, on time, but you know what they do? A bunch of other people, we know February there's going to be a Nintendo Direct. We know September there's going to be a Direct, and likely, but maybe not consistently, usually in June there's something. So we know like at least 3 times throughout the year, we know Nintendo's going to start, talking about stuff. And the thing is, for the people who don't watch this stuff as it happens, you know what they do? They hear it from all their friends, because so many other people are on the ball and like, hey, this is happening. So then boom, that gets blasted out to social media, the word of mouth. Because again, word of mouth is like the greatest form of marketing you can get right now, and something they should absolutely be striving for. But yeah, they need to learn from Iwata here and from Nintendo, and that is have consistent directs and updates. Let people know when to expect your product, and I think that will go over a lot better for the company, because you're going to drive hype, you're going to build enthusiasm, especially for the people who are excited about your company. So yeah, I think they need to have consistent updates. So yeah, now we're getting kind of like into the final stretch here. And, this one's going to be a little bit of a sort of armchair game developer analysis, if you will. But just making games available is more important than remastering them. So there was sort of a kind of weird thing where Final Fantasy Tic Tacs came out this year, and it was a full remaster. But there was this crazy sort of realization or crazy sort of like info came out where this took longer to remaster, and it cost them more money to make than the original game. It took them longer and cost them more to take a fully finished game and quote unquote remaster it for modern consoles, and that is a fucking waste of money and time, because frankly, just making your back catalog easily and readily available to everyone is more important than remastering it. And then you just end up getting this weird smudged, high quality 2 times filter on your crap anyways. So again, taking their classic games and making them available is much more important than spending a ton of money remastering them. And what they need to do a little bit, swallow their fucking pride, and just use whatever emulation techniques are known and working. Because the whole, we didn't create that, we didn't make it here, so we got to do it ourselves. We got to build it from the source. Do you want to, like, this is how you lose to piracy. Because when pirates can easily just throw the fucking game on, like say they want to play a PlayStation 1 game that you haven't remastered, say they want to do it. You know how easy it is for them to get an emulator, to get a copy of the game and put it in, and they can even throw their stupid filters on it all day if they want. They can run it at higher frame rates if they want, and they didn't have to do anything. And the work that's done by passionate, people in the modding community for free, it's sort of like, to me, that's more of an embarrassment to you than anything. Charging $50 for Final Fantasy Tic Tacs for a remaster is steep, and I get it. It cost more. It was so hard to make this remaster of this game. Like, bro, it doesn't. Like, you need to like look at simpler solutions here. You need to look at these like emulators and plugins for emulators and fucking figure it out here, because people working in their spare time for free should not be able to be offering your product quicker and faster and easier than it takes for you to remaster and release it to the public. So again, my big point here is making classic games available is more important than remastering them. I think people would rather have an easier time just jumping in like, oh, this classic game I used to love. I want to play it. Where can I play it? It should be just available on any console and PC without any trouble of just, oh, there it is. Let me grab it. Let me grab it for $10. Let me grab it for $15. Let me just get that real quick here. I just want to replay this game. So the time and money they're spending remastering projects, no, if it's truly because of the work that had to go into remastering Final Fantasy Tactics, is why it cost so much, why it took so long to come out, and it's like, okay, that needs to fucking change, because you should not be budgeting and spending money on a PS1 game, because really all people really fucking wanted was War of the Lions. They just wanted to play the PSP version. I understand there's a bit of a political thing there with the original creators of Final Fantasy Tactics not really jiving with War of the Lions, but like all people really wanted at the end of the day was to play the best version of Final Fantasy Tactics at the time in North America. That was War of the Lions. All they really wanted was just the option to purchase that. They didn't need a whole fucking giant remaster that was going to be so costly and cost them 50 goddamn bones. So yeah, like at the end of the day, making it available way more important than remastering it. Like you don't have to remaster these projects. And if you are going to remaster, I think people want probably something a little more like hefty or involved than just what we got. I mean, again, Final Fantasy Tactics is a great game, no doubt. But when you look at the original game, you look at the remaster side by side, it's kind of hard to sit there and justify, yeah, $50. That definitely looks like a $50 game. You know what else was a $50 game? Expedition 33. You know what? I'm not going to go there. So let's just move on. Let's just move on to the number one thing that Square needs to do. And I think it's a lesson they've already kind of learned. So this one's a bit okay. We've already kind of learned this, but I think it needs to be reiterated so they never fall into this hole again. Never. Number one, no more exclusives ever. Ever. The fucking money bribe Square took from Sony for the Final Fantasy VII Remake project exclusivity, all it ended up doing was hurting them. It hurt them. It closed doors for people to play the game that was costing them a ton of fucking money to make. So, sure, it seemed like it was all worth it when people were tied down in April 2020 during COVID. But like as we quickly saw with Rebirth, when it was like exclusive to PS5 for at the time an undisclosed amount of time, all that did was hurt it. Exclusivity hurts. You're a third-party publisher. You're not owned by Sony. So in no way should you be taking bribe money from them to lock a game down onto one system. People play things all over the place. PC is surging. Xbox exists. Switch is dominating Japan. Switch is doing very well in the rest of the world. Your shit should be available fucking everywhere at day one. This was in the past we used to have to fight, and I used to always say like, stop fucking pretending like you're a global company, if you don't release your games globally day one. When we had to wait for translations and localizations, wait 9 months or a year for a game to get translated. And it was a hard lesson. They learned it. Everyone learned it. Even Nintendo learned it. Release your shit day one. But the next lesson, we need to learn, and I think they've kind of learned it already, judging by the remarks I'm talking about for part 3, is no more exclusives ever. Don't take any bribe money. Don't take it from Microsoft. Don't take it from Sony. Don't take it from Nintendo. No more exclusives. Fuck exclusives. Make your shit available to everyone, everywhere. Day fucking one. No timed exclusives. No like, 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 1 year. Fuck all of that. No exclusives. No exclusives. No exclusives on the PC. Don't take any Epic money for an EGS exclusive release. No. Everywhere. Just put it out. Put it out on GOG. Put it out on Steam. Put it out on EGS. Day one. All the time. No more exclusives. No more exclusives. No more fucking exclusives. That being said, what they really should do is they should make a Xenogears remake with Monolith Soft. Make it exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 and make it a multi-part project, something that, really lets them tell the story they wanted to tell with the modern-day graphics and hardware of the Switch 2. And since Monolith Soft, it will be exclusive. So, yeah, make a big, exclusive, Switch 2 only version of Xenogears, multi-part saga. Really get that game... No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Xenogears remake wouldn't sell shit. That is my 10-step plan to getting Square Enix on the right track. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the channel. Later, dudes.